What's up, heathens? How ya doing? I'm the Godless engineer, and I critically analyze apologists' claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today we're going to be looking at Matt Powell again because he said something really stupid.
Sure enough, evolution teaches that they hitched a ride on the back of asteroids. Doesn't that sound fun? And they don't get along anyways. Squids and octopuses are constantly fighting each other, so I don't know how they made it here to begin with.
What? No, this is not what evolutionary theory says, and it just goes to show how Matt Powell will cherry pick bad information from unreliable sources and just label it as what evolutionists believe. If you want to find out why the sentient cupcake Matt Powell is wrong about rafting and cephalopods, then please stay tuned. Now, if y'all haven't seen my most recent video covering Matt Powell, I took to one of his sermons and uncovered 15 lies that he told. I honestly just had to stop counting the lies because they were just so excessive, and the video was already way too long. Apparently though, I stopped a little too quickly because just under a half hour into his sermon, he brings up cephalopods and South American monkeys. Matt Powell ends up lying yet again about evolutionary theory and what normal, non-creationist people think. In this first clip, Matt Powell is going to lie to you about cephalopod evolution.
Squids and octopuses have a different genetic build than any other creature in the world. So scientists have come to the conclusion that they couldn't have come from any other sea creature.
This is a lie. The Cephalopod Genome was mapped back in 2015. Now, while there were some surprises in the Cephalopod Genome, what they definitely didn't find is a completely different genetic build than any other creature in the world. We know that the cephalopods are part of the mollusca clade, which means that they are genetically and physiologically linked to other species within this clade. And that clade is itself a derivation of a previous clade, because that's how evolution works. So his assertion that cephalopods are so genetically unique that they are not related to any other life forms here on Earth is just false. Scientists simply are not saying what he says they are saying. Matt Powell is lying to you. Now, Matt Powell is going to lie to you about where evolutionary theory says that cephalopods come from.
So here's what evolutionary theory states about how they got here. Evolution says, or evolutionists claim, it says one plausible explanation, in our view, is that the genes are likely new extraterrestrial imports to Earth. These scientists declare that, quote, the squid eggs hitched a ride to Earth on the back of asteroids. That is what evolution teaches, folks. I am not kidding. I was in an interview with a friend of mine he's an actual creation scientist. Now, him and I don't see eye to eye on everything, but he brought this up and I thought he was joking with me. I said, are you serious? We cut for a moment. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is what they teach? He said, yeah, it's what they teach. I looked it up. Sure enough, evolution teaches that they hitched a ride on the back of asteroids. Doesn't that sound fun?
No serious scientist is saying this. And more importantly, nobody is teaching this concept. This actually comes from a journal article published in March of 2018. Several scientists co-authored this paper, but the general idea is that the Cambrian Explosion was caused by an extraterrestrial seeding event. It was immediately criticized by the scientific community as being nothing more than pure speculation, with little to no evidence behind it. Ken Stedman, who is a virologist and a professor of biology, told Live Science that many of the claims in this paper are beyond speculative and not even really looking at the literature. Basically, Matt attempted to read a scientific journal article and then immediately assumed that science educators are teaching this in classrooms and teaching it as part of evolutionary theory. What he has failed to do here is look at any opposition to this paper and see what the issues are with this paper. All in all, Matt's a fucking idiot. It's very important when you read these journal articles to also listen to dissenting opinions about the journal articles. They most likely will point out flaws in that particular article. A lot of times that will cause the original authors to rework their paper and resubmit it. Typically, this is shown on the journal articles page online. This didn't happen for this particular article, but still, you should definitely investigate any kind of wild claims that could be out there. Instead, what Matt has done is immediately ran with it as a crazy idea because it is a crazy idea. And he's chosen to represent evolutionary theory with this idea, which is exactly what we're going to get into next.
And they don't get along anyways. Squids and octopuses are constantly fighting each other, so I don't know how they made it here to begin with. But of course they were eggs, and the article goes on to say that they were fertilized. They don't know how, but they were fertilized so that they could hatch when they hit the water.
What he's doing is he's cherry-picking all of these really bad ideas and building a crazy straw man so that he can present it to his audience that already thinks that evolution is ridiculous. This is one of the best examples of mental masturbation that I have ever seen. Next, Matt Powell is going to lie to you about how monkeys traveled from Africa to South America.
Evolutionists also claim that because monkeys had to have somehow gotten to South America from Africa. That's what evolutionary theory states, and they have a problem figuring out how. So their best conclusion that their best scientists have come up with is this idea that monkeys surfed across the ocean to a land anew over in South America. Now that has a lot of problems. There's tides out there. They probably get blown off their surf. Who has ever seen a monkey surf? I don't even think they can.
Nobody says that monkeys surf from Africa to South America. Again, he's taking a nugget of truth and twisting it into something ridiculous so that he can mentally stroke the ignorance of his audience. Our best idea about how monkeys arrived in South America from Africa is called the rafting hypothesis. This hypothesis was only proposed after finding 32-million-year-old African monkey fossils near the border of Peru and Brazil. This process of rafting relies on, happenstance, and the fact that the face of the Earth was drastically different 32 million years ago. Back then, the distance between Africa and South America was only about 930 miles to 1,300 miles, which is very different from the 1,700 miles that exist today. That, coupled with low sea levels and other things of that nature, it could have been a lot shorter. We also have other evidence of rafting occurring throughout history. For one thing, lemurs and tenrecs were actually not native to Madagascar, but they ended up rafting there from Africa. We even have evidence of rafting occurring now. This video was in 2010, and it shows the kind of natural rafts that we're talking about. These rafts could support a small community or multiple communities of animals. So Cupcake, boiling all of this down to monkeys surf to South America from Africa, shows how dishonest he is about the actual scientific theories. He's just wanting to make it look ridiculous when it isn't.
But, this is what happens, folks, when you go into fantasy land and when you think that the world created itself from nothing, magically, I might add.
Smoke weed every day.
No, Matt. You are the one that's living in a magical fantasy land where a wizard creates everything out of nothing. That is literally what you believe there, Cupcake. Fucking magic. I mean, you propose that a literal wizard casted a spell and created the universe. Then the wizard casted a spell to create humans. And then this wizard sat around and watching all of his humans that he made fuck their kin. This wizard got so pissy one day that he decided to kill everything except for one particular family. That was only so that he could watch them, again, fuck their kin for a long time. So Matt, maybe you should try to understand the science you're trying to belittle before you start acting like a fool. Well, heathens, that's it for the video today. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you're interested in more information about all of the topics that we covered here today, being cephalopod evolution and rafting, I have links down in the description that you can go and further educate yourself. While you're down there checking out all that cool information, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you like anti-creationist stuff like this. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.